If you were at the Lane this coming Monday for the Chelsea game and Maurizio Pochettino's return, would you boo him? Equally, if you are at the game, are you going to boo him? Let me know in the comments below. This is a subject that I'm now obsessed with. I've been on a few Spurs podcasts this week. I've been with the We Are Tottenham TV boys, and we had a big discussion about whether or not I would boo Poch. And I said I think it would depend on how many drinks I'd had. By which I mean, I think if I'd had a few drinks, I'd probably get carried away with the rest of the crowd, because I think they will boo Poch. However, I also listened to The Excellent View from the Lane with Danny Kelly and his guys. And James Moore on there, I think, made a really good point, which is there's not actually a natural time at which you can boo a manager. I guess the only potential time is when he comes out of the tunnel at the beginning, but he's not on his own when he comes out of the tunnel. Often he'll come out at a similar time to the opposition manager, and there'll be lots of substitutes and other squad members coming out at the same time, and it's not like he'll be on the pitch on his own. So when is the possibility to boo Poch, even if you wanted to? I'm completely torn about it. I have so much respect for Maurizio Pochettino. I think he's the best manager Spurs have had in my lifetime, certainly in my knowledgeable Spurs supporting lifetime since the early 90s. And I wouldn't boo him in the street, and I wouldn't boo him to his face or if he came out to the middle of the pitch. But this is Chelsea. This is a huge London derby, and I think this is an opportunity for Tottenham to have one of their greatest nights in modern history on Monday night. If we can get the crowd behind us, keep the atmosphere and the momentum going from the way the crowd have been all season at the Lane, because of how happy we all are at the way we're playing football, at how Big Ange has completely transformed the club. And if we could get an early goal and keep that momentum behind us, I think we could absolutely turn Chelsea over. And that is where I think there's a possibility to not boo Poch, but maybe if we were 3-0 up going into the last 20 minutes, say, we could sing his chant. It would absolutely destroy the Chelsea fans if we did that. It would be like Agent Poch. We'd be singing his chant because we love him, but also because of what he would be doing to Chelsea, which would be, if we win on Monday night, Tottenham Hotspur going 17 points ahead of Chelsea in the Premier League. Unbelievable. However, I don't think it's quite as simple as that, and this is the match preview, and I'm going to go into why. First of all, I want to talk about where Chelsea are. They are 11th in the Premier League table on 12 points. Their results this season have been as follows. They drew 1-1 at home to Liverpool in the opening game. Not a bad result. Both teams clearly, starting afresh. Liverpool with a completely new midfield, and Chelsea obviously with a new manager. They were then expected to go to West Ham and turn West Ham over easily. They lost 3-1 at the London Stadium. And then they kind of turned that round with a 3-0 win at home at Stamford Bridge against Luton. Then they lost at home to Forest 1-0, drew away to Bournemouth 0-0, and lost at home again to Aston Villa 1-0. Now, Villa, good team this season under Unai Emery, but a team like Chelsea, when they spent £1 billion on players, they bought some of the most talented young players in Europe and tried to slot them all together. They shouldn't be losing 1-0 at home to Aston Villa. That is when the Chelsea fans started to get a little bit antsy, I think. And they were the first kind of times when Chelsea fans started calling into TalkSport and 606 saying that Poch didn't look like he had what it took. Then they went to Fulham and won 2-0 away. Good result for them in their local derby. And then they beat Burnley 4-1 away, as we did, in fact. So they got a couple of results on the spin, and then the biggest game of their season and the most impressive game of their season so far, they drew at home to Arsenal 2-2, and they were 2-0 up after about 75 minutes in that game, and they did play well, and the Chelsea fans all got behind them, and that was when everyone started talking about, okay, this is a real resurgence. Pochettino's finally got it going with them. However, since then, they lost 2-0 last week at home to Brentford. So they've lost 3 home games that they shouldn't have lost: Forest, Villa, and Brentford. What does that say? That they are a kind of jumble of talent. Lots, like I said, of amazing, young, best talent in Europe playing for them, but they've all been thrown together at the same time with hardly any experience and Premier League nous to knit them together. Yes, they've got Thiago Silva, but he's approaching 40 years old. And they've got Raheem Sterling, but Raheem Sterling is doing what Raheem Sterling does. This is why Gareth Southgate doesn't pick him anymore, because, he's 2 weeks playing well and then a couple of weeks completely anonymous. And he's snatching at chances. I'm going to go into that, though, because of the way that they are playing. it's decent football. They're doing the right things again. They're definitely more together in terms of the football they're playing, the style of play, and tactical nous and what they're trying to do than they were under Graham Potter, say. But they're not taking their chances. They're making a lot of chances. All of their stats are good. Their XG, they should be higher up the table. Everyone's saying it based on their stats, the amount of chances they're creating, expected goals, touches in opposition area, etc., etc. But they do not have a striker who is currently putting those chances away. The new guy they brought in, Jackson, he's raw. He's so quick. I think Mickey van der Ven's going to have a difficult day up against him because he's very quick, and it'll be interesting to see whether Jackson chooses to try and settle himself on Romero, because he'll have the pace to outdo him. But I think Romero will have the cojones and the thought process to know where he's going to go and know the runs he's going to make. Nicholas Jackson nearly moved to Bournemouth last January. That was a move that nearly happened, except his medical failed. And then suddenly he's the main number 9 for Chelsea. If I were a Chelsea fan, I'd be like, why did we let Tammy Abraham go? Like, how did we mistreat Romelu Lukaku so badly that we're currently playing Nicholas Jackson, who, he's too raw for this? Now, obviously, let me know what you guys think, but there's a big part of me that's like, oh, he's obviously going to put it all together against Spurs then. It's a classic Spurs script thing that the player who hasn't quite scored any goals yet for Chelsea will do it at the Lane for the first time. But I have to say, Big Ange is fighting against those scripts all this season. In every game, in every match preview, I've probably mentioned this is what I'm worried about because I'm a pessimistic Spurs fan. But Big Ange is not letting those scripts happen at the moment. So I'm confident that Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero can keep him in check. Obviously, Chelsea have Nkunku injured at the moment. He's rumoured to be back after the international break, and he's a big talent who did very well in Germany. That will improve them. But some people say he's not a natural number 9 either. So it'll be interesting to see in January or in the summer whether they will have to dip into the transfer market for a proper goal scorer. I should say Cole Palmer, the signing from Manchester City, looks like a good signing. Really talented player, good on the ball, gets himself into those little pockets where it's hard to mark him, making a lot of chances for them and has scored a few goals. Took that important penalty, didn't he, where he took it off Raheem Sterling. So that showed that he's got confidence. It'll be really interesting to see whether in the white-hot atmosphere of a huge Spurs-Chelsea London derby night game, whether these young players can step up to the plate. Will it take the pressure off them that maybe Spurs are the favourites for this game, or will it make them crumble? I'm fascinated to see. Like I said, I've got a feeling that if the team that I want us to play, our kind of first 11, is fit and ready to play, then I think we could really turn them over. But relevant to that, Destiny Udogie, Big Ange said in his press conference yesterday that they are still assessing him. He's only 50-50. The fact that we've got 3 days again, 3 days now, 2-3 days before the match, means that Udogie's got a chance of playing. I think Udogie playing is key to our chances of really putting one over on Chelsea this Monday. If he's playing and he's at his best, then I think we could win by 2 or 3. But Ben Davies has also got a knock. So what does that mean? It means basically at this point, potentially we've got 4 left-backs out. Udogie, Ben Davies, Sessegnon and Ivan Perisic. That's really unlucky. If they're all out and unavailable to play for Chelsea, meaning Udogie and Davies, I think that means Emerson Royale comes in and that leaves us unbalanced. I like Royale. He's a good defender, good one-on-one defender, but it leaves us unbalanced with him coming in off the left, and that will make it different. That will make a big difference. Another big question, Rishi or Brennan Johnson? Been speaking about it all week. I think a big game, huge atmosphere, big game player, Richarlison will start. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if Big Ange starts Brennan Johnson. Who do you want him to start out of Rishi and Brennan Johnson? I'd be interested to know. Let me know in the comments. But I just think Richarlison, on a night like that, he could really wind the Chelsea players up and maybe even get one of them sent off. So I wonder if that will be in Big Ange's thoughts. Last time we played them at home, we won 2-0. Oliver Skipp scored just after half-time. I remember I was there. That was when Christian Stellini was in charge of Spurs because Conte was having his operation. And Graham Potter was in the last throes of his Chelsea management career. It was pretty easy. I have to say, Chelsea were poor. They've got a lot more new players now. Will they gel together any better at the Lane? I thought that day they crumbled. The team that I think will play, and I'm being a bit pessimistic about the injuries, I think it'll be Vicario, Pedro Porro, Royale at left-back, Romero and Mickey van der Ven. Bissouma, I think, will start. I think, he was kind of taken off relatively early because he was a bit rusty against Crystal Palace. But he'll have had more time to train harder, and now it kind of is less important if he gets his yellow card today, because this is the game we didn't want him suspended for. Of course, he's on 4 yellow cards still. If he gets another, he's suspended. So I think it'll be Bissouma. Pat Matasar, I think, will keep his place, even though Bentancur came on against Palace. I think it's too soon for Bentancur and Maddison. And then I think Son up front with, like I said, Richarlison on the left, Deki Kulusevski on the right. In terms of predictions, like I said, I think if Destiny plays and he's at full fitness, I think we'll win 3-0 or 3-1. There you go. I'm going for it. I said it. But I think if he doesn't and it's Royale, I think it'll be a lot tighter. But I'm still going to be confident because I think the fans are going to get fully behind the team. I think this is a huge night for Spurs. I think we can still win 2-1 even if Royale plays. They are my predictions. That is my match preview. Guys, once again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do also subscribe or follow the podcast at wherever you get your podcast, be that Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts, or wherever, and vice versa. If you're listening on the podcast, please do come over and subscribe on YouTube as well. It's youtube.com/@BarnabySlater_. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Let me know in the comments what you think the score is going to be, whether you would boo Poch, and anything you want to talk about, and I will reply. Thanks so much again, and come on, you Spurs.